You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the September 2nd meeting for the LaPorte County Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, I'd like to call the LaPorte County Park Board meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Michelle? Here. Jesse? Here. Jim?
Here.
Mike? Is absent. Ron?
Here.
Nick?
Here.
And Mary now is in Alaska.
Yeah,
She's in Alaska.
She went to Alaska. She's not back yet. She must have got delayed.
She's not here yet.
Let's go ahead and stand and say the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda?
I actually have a couple of things. I'd like to add HFL Health Foundation of LaPorte grant request for the disc golf course improvements to new business.
Okay.
And then I'd like to add caretaker house demo request to the old business.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Does everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? Any questions on the minutes or corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
So moved.
And a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Public comment. No public comment at this point. Okay. Hearing no public comment, let's go to the financial report.
I have a few things to mention on this one. If you go down to bicycle and pedestrian drive, that $35,000, 906.25. Actually, at the last meeting, it was that was listed as zero, and I looked at our financial report, and there was so that money was money that was rolled over from last year to this year. It was never encumbered. It didn't show up on the actual financial sheet. And I said something to Kathy about it. It was a miscommunication between Kathy and I. That money is spent, and that balance is actually zero. So if you can change that out of the list, and it's reflected in the financial report, expenditures that will go into. So essentially, what happened is we misunderstood each other, I think, and she added that $39,906 in there. And so it made it look like we had $35,906 in there, we actually didn't. It was just a rollover from one year to the next. But we had already spent.
So that's in the this financial
on that financial report.
within our
At the bottom, like the next to last entry there.
okay, the 2024 trails plan.
That is actually zero. Everything else is I would say somewhat normal. You see a lot of reds, but by the time the next couple months goes by, we're not spending any money anyway because of the end of the year financials, but by November, December, we can't spend any more money.
And we'll take electric out of non-reverting.
Yes, electric, and then, actually this year it seems like we're doing pretty well on gas, fuel, and oil. I think usually we're pretty well going by then. I don't know if prices were just down a little bit or the electric vehicles, obviously, we're spending less. Propane, we have, a little bit of money, $2,000 left there. We just had most of our tanks topped off, so we get the summer pricing. So if we do have some cool weather, we may spend all that. But sometimes if we end up filling it up right at the end of the year when we can't do POs anyway, but we'll try to push those through for the end of the year.
Yeah.
Waste disposal, we just had septic's pumped at all the parks, so that money will be, I think pretty much spent. And consultant, there's still some money there. I think that'll be finalized with the pump link plan.
Okay. Any questions?
Non-reverted funds are doing well, we can see, but we are going to be starting to spend quite a bit of that due to the fact that these other fund accounts are getting down to zero.
And that's how they help us out. So that's a good thing. Okay, anybody have any questions on the financial report? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the financial report as written? Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll second. Okay. Jeremy, go ahead and take it away.
All right, the master plan for Roman Prairie, Hunt Lake, whatever it ends up being called, here's a drawing, overhead drawing there that each of you should have. Just wanted to share that. I think I've shared this digitally, but I thought I'd give it to you in paper too. They're still working on the actual plan, but this was the kind of the drawing. I'm sure there'll be a lot more information as that plan comes to fruition. And the Bloom DNR project update, I've been talking to them a little bit. I've not seen recent drawings, but they are having an arborist come out and look at trees that are going to need to be removed for the trail, for the wetland project, all of that next Friday. And so I'll probably be going out there, and I've asked them for an updated drawing and things like that, so we can kind of look at that. I guess something else that was kind of interesting that I didn't know was happening, but they did, was they brought a drone in and did some invasive species spraying with a drone. That was 3 weeks ago maybe. So Phragmites, which is an invasive plant that's in wetlands, is pretty much all over the wetland that they're going to be restoring. So they brought that drone in and did and I think one of the employees actually has a video of it. So that was interesting. Reindeer event update. So as you remember, last year we had the reindeer out at Lower County Park and Santa and several other wintertime, Christmas type activities. We found funding for both for the reindeer and for, I think we're gonna have somebody playing some Christmas music there. We're gonna have Santa again. And so we found donations for all of that. So that's gonna be last year we had right at just over 500 people at that event. So we're hoping for a bigger, better event this year. And, so that'll be a good one. Pioneer Days update. Several of you have signed up to volunteer. Several of you are going to be out of town, but if you are able to, I've got the sign-up sheet here. We're looking pretty good. We'll be trying to get some more volunteers. But again, that's hope we have good weather and hope for a lot of people to show up. The disc golf update, I'll talk about that in the whole business as well, but I have been working with Brandon and that was here at the last meeting to talk, and I think we're moving in a good direction here, I think, on that, and we'll talk about it more in the whole business. So, maintenance and construction report, the guys have been putting boardwalks in out at Lower County Park. Park Foundation funded the replacement of some boardwalks that were very old and starting to fall apart. And then also put in some new boardwalks on some new trail on the south end of the park. So that's moving forward. The guys and we're actually going to reroute the wetland trail that went to the tower back there. We're kind of rerouting that onto some higher ground, and I don't think we're going to have as tall of a tower or anything, but you're going to be able to see that wetland without having to go up on a tower. So it'll be wheelchair accessible. It'll be able to maintain around a lot better where we're going to be putting it. And it's again the way they're building this. We have the best crew around. You guys know I say that all the time, but they're building it where it's sitting on these pads, for lack of a better word, where we don't have to bury concrete, and we're doing no digging. It's basically sitting on a foot that's maybe 18 inches or so wide. That it's made to do this. It's basically a foundation for not a very heavy materials for a deck or for something like that. So. And the good thing is, if they are to sag or sink in or whatever, we can adjust it very easily by jacking it up, putting another, changing the post or whatever. So they're building them at the shop yard in the shade, and then we take them back there with our equipment and put them in. 6 guys can grab each section, put it right in place, and then we connect them together. So. Pretty ingenious, what they're doing with that. So, program report, they had over 100 people at the night hike Friday night. So those night hikes are still very popular, and they're doing really good stuff. They're gearing up for a busy fall with Pioneer Days, of course, and then the fall event with the pay rides and that kind of stuff. So the program sheet came out last week, and everybody should have got that in the email. And they sent out the mail to people who don't have email. But they're looking to do a lot of good things coming up.
Okay. On the park counts, you can take a look at those if you'd like. In the park counts, it does look like our attendance is a little bit lower than it was last year. So
yeah, and I would attribute that to just how hot it's been. It was way hotter this year than last year, I think. Last year was a really big year for us. I fully didn't expect us to be able to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Unless things just were perfect. But we're going to be down a little this year. We're still over. I think by the estimates, I just added those up today. I think we're still over 200, or right at about 250,000 so far.
Yeah.
Last year we were over 500 for the year. I don't think we'll
get to
reach
that.
Right. No way. But it's okay. Still.
And I've talked to other venues that have said the same thing, that their counts are down.
Yeah.
And that's what they attribute to the weather.
Yep.
Being so hot.
Yeah.
You want to drag your kids out to the park when it's 95.
Yeah.
An index of 98 or 100.
When it was so humid and hot, the bugs were bad and everything else.
Yep.
So, that's all
Pretty normal.
to it.
Okay, we'll move on to the standing committee reports. Executive committee does not have a report. Budget committee?
I have no report.
Okay, personnel committee?
No report as well.
And property committee?
I'll just handle that since neither one of them are here.
Yeah,
the caretaker house update, I talked to the highway department, and they agreed to help us when they have some free time to basically tear that out. Went to the commissioners and asked their blessing to go ahead and get rid of it. Commissioner Hollerfield came and saw the house and walked through it with me, and I agreed that it was probably not a great park asset. So that's in our additions to the agenda. I want to just ask this board's permission to go ahead and tear it down as well, so we all have all our ducks in a row.
Great, good idea. Okay. Planning committee? Nothing. And Rules Committee? Nothing. Okay, good. Old business, Trails Master Plan with a request for demo of the caretaker house.
Yeah, so Ryan is here from Antero. He's going to give a little presentation here about the Trails Master Plan and the work they did and the work that the community put on. So kind of turn your chairs around.
Yes. Direct your attention to the back. While this is being pulled up, I just want to thank you all, Jeremy and the rest of the board, for your participation, attendance, and just general enthusiasm for this plan. Obviously, we're a little biased, but we think it turned out very well, and we're just very excited for that next step to see some of this come to fruition as well. This is a presentation, obviously, but please at any point feel free to stop me, ask questions, that's more about what this is all about. And anyone who knows me knows that I can really yap, so feel free, ask questions. Let's discuss some of this. And I just need to plug in the HDMI. I think we'll be cooking. I know everyone here has the plan on their bedside table, but in case you haven't gotten through all 140 something pages, this is going to be a really good outline of what is in the plan and what we have recommended for the county. So a little bit, so just diving in, starting with the introduction, these bullet points here were the main principles that we really wanted to help guide us and what we heard from all of you, what we heard from a lot of your residents as well about what they need. People just really want to get out and bike and do it safely and comfortably. That was something we heard time and time again. And in a rural community like LaPorte, where you have some growing areas, urbanizing, suburbanizing areas, the thing here is recreation. That is the real mode of travel by bicycle, and so that's what we heard a lot. And then we all obviously wanted to always improve connectivity and safety, but that last one was also a really big thing for us as well, guiding implementation. A lot of these plans have really lofty goals that can never be accomplished, and we did not want that to happen for this plan, and so we really focused on achievable, actionable items. So the second chapter is LaPorte County today. So imagine the day before we got here, what does the county look like? What are those trends that are happening? What are some areas for improvement? What are the strengths that we want to really enhance and embolden and amplify? Thanks to the things that we heard from the residents, whether that be through the survey or some of the public meetings we'll talk about in a few minutes. It's really easy or easier to get east-west in the county, but north-south is a little bit trickier. And some of those pain points were Kingsford Heights, Kingsbury, Wanata, Orland Prairie, and La Crosse. And that is something that we heard a lot. And you also have some really great trail networks and systems here in the county, but accessing those from your residents is a little bit more difficult as well. So driving to these trails rather than having to ride. We want to eventually have a system where you can ride to the trails, enjoy the trails, and then ride home safely as well. And then some of the things that might not be readily noticeable were individuals with disabilities or people who use mobility devices do have some troubles accessing some of these trails. And that's something that we definitely wanted to focus on as well. And then this last bullet point here is also a critical one. Unfortunately, 8 bicyclists have lost their lives in crashes since 2008 in the county. And so that was also something that if we are going to be putting people on the road and that's where they ride their bicycle, we need it to be safe. And so that was, when we're selecting facilities, that was a very, very front and center need for us as well. Also interesting about LaPorte County, one of the largest percentage of wetlands and floodplains in this region. And so a lot of the places that you're normally putting trails are covered by wetlands and are not able to be built upon. So that's another added constraint that we wanted to work around as well, or needed to work around, I should say. We hosted 3 public meetings. The first one was really just to tell people what the plan is, what we hope to accomplish, what's currently happening in the county as well, and then start to work with them to create a vision statement for what they need and what they want to see in the plan as well. And then the second public meeting was to reveal and discuss all of the data that we had collected so far, and then presented to them. And then based on that, identify priority areas. So how much are people biking in certain areas? How much are they not biking in certain areas? What is the safety concerns? And then based on that, then they can tell us, hey, this is a priority area for me, this connection is a priority area for me, or simply just saying, hey, I just want my kids to be able to ride to school or be able to walk to school safely. And then finally, our third public meeting just a few months ago was hosted, and we revealed all of our recommendations. So all of the routes that you'll see in a little while were revealed, got some good feedback on how to kind of tweak some and fine tune them, and I had some really good discussions at that one as well. So this is a very long list, but these are the main takeaways that people told us. I'm going to point out a few. The second one here we really took to heart, the widened shoulders on high traffic roadways. A shoulder is great when it's 4 feet, it's even better when it's 6, and it's perfect when it's 8, in my opinion. And that is really the standard that we want to impart here in the county, is widened shoulders. And we heard that a lot from the residents as well. A lot of people are the road warriors getting out there and riding their road bikes, and we want to accommodate that more often. And so we definitely took that one to heart. Some others on here that I'll point out, this one right here in the connectivity enhancements. South and East LaPorte County, not quite as dense, and for that reason they don't have a lot of connections, to there and from there and within there. And so we definitely wanted to, give that region some love within our recommendations, and hopefully we hit the nail on the head on that one. And then we have some regional connectivity opportunities coming up. The Marquette Greenway and the future, hopefully, Great American Rail Trail as well. So we have designed a network that ties into that eventually. If there is another agency that can come and make these larger connections, you can now tie into that as well and enjoy that with these trail recommendations. And then finally, one that often gets overlooked, wayfinding and signage. It's great if you know exactly where you're going, but if I was to ride in LaPorte County, I might not be as well versed, and some intermediate beginner riders might not be as well versed either. So we definitely see that as a future improvement for the county. And so after all that, we took all that information and distilled it down into what eventually was our working vision statement. So LaPorte County envisions a safe, sustainable bicycle and pedestrian network that fosters economic activity and recreational opportunities that connects with parks, towns, cities, and key destinations. This network will feature multi-use trails, creative wayfinding, and pedestrian-friendly access while prioritizing safety, health, and non-motorized transportation. Very open-ended, very broad, but the one thing I will highlight here is economic activity, and that's something that is often overlooked when we're talking about walking and biking. We know that on average, per visit, bicyclists and pedestrians spend more than automobile drivers do at gas stations, restaurants, and bars. And so there isn't just I just really like biking, I want this to be a bike-friendly community. There actually is a very big impact that you can have on your local businesses if you are able to bring in more people by walking and biking as well. I'm going to pause there. Any questions so far? Anything we've talked about? All right, I'll keep going. So looking at recommendations and priorities. So this is sort of what we were trying to connect to. These in bolded text here. The proposed network creates safe connections to 23 public schools within the county, connecting to Purdue Northwest, which the county's already doing with a couple projects over there, was a big priority as well. And then connects to 9 public museums, 76 recreational facilities, and 61 state-recognized conservation areas and destinations. And then the existing network is already in place, obviously, and that connects to 34 existing trails located within the county. So a lot of people said, I can't get to certain places, I can't get to any place on these trails, and we wanted to fix that, and that was a big, big priority for us. So on the screen here is our recommendations. The blue lines you see are paved shoulders, and then the red are shared use paths. So your 8 or 10 foot paths on the side of the road. And then we also have some advisory shoulders and bike lanes, which consists of approximately 10 miles. I'll show some pictures of that so you can kind of visualize what that might look like. we really only used advisory shoulders and bike lanes for stopgap methods where we couldn't figure out anything else to put there, but we knew something had to go there in some of the more dense urbanized areas. So in total, 317 miles of new bike facilities, about 227 of them are paved shoulders. Just to give you a frame of reference, paved shoulders per mile cost about $100,000, but a shared use path that is limestone is about $226,000, and then if you go to asphalt, it's about $525,000. So when we're thinking like, hey, it'd be really great if all of these were trails, off-street, 8-foot, 10-foot paths, awesome. But who's going to pay for that? It's probably not going to be the county, it's not going to be the federal government, it's not going to be the state. And so we wanted to come up with feasible, actionable recommendations, and that is why we really, really leaned on the paved shoulder. The design standard that we have is 6 feet for paved shoulders. You can go wider if right-of-way allows for it. The other great thing about paved shoulders is snowplow drivers typically prefer them to having no paved shoulders. It's great for EMS vehicles that have to pull off the side of the road, and farm equipment actually prefers them as well, because you can pull off to the shoulder, let the traffic go by you, and then continue by your way as well. So it's not just bicyclists that really like these. The bold lines are priority segments. These are the ones that we said, hey, these recommendations will only be successful if we have those in there, because they connect certain segments, destinations, or places that no facilities currently exist. And then, mentioned down here, shared use paths, 8 to 10 feet wide, on-road shoulders, 8 feet as well. So any questions? Would anyone like to discuss this map here at all? You guys are making this so easy. Okay, this is, all right. Paved shoulders, so this is just highlighting exactly where they go. As I mentioned, pedestrian crashes reduced by 71%. Provide space for maintenance of a lot of other users of the road as well. And then the thing that I also want to mention, you can't really see, it's kind of faint. Paved shoulders are really great when we have rumble strips. So those things that make an audible noise when you start leaving your travel lane, those are almost necessary for paved shoulders to be successful, so that you're not just drifting into these bicycles when they're on the side of the road as well. So I will make note of that. But paved shoulders, about 72% of your total network as it's currently recommended. Some other, I got the fly on me now. So paved shoulders, you've probably seen it. This is State Road 4. This is what I would like State Road 4 to look like in its final iteration. Again, the rumble strips, great. I would like them on the fog line though, if we could, but it's pretty good as it is. The other thing is every 40 feet, you should also be putting in gaps for the rumble strips so that bicyclists can leave and go outside, so they're not having to go over the rumble strips themselves. And then they can, if they needed to pass somebody on the shoulder, things like that, they could then leave that shoulder for that brief period of time. And then shared use paths, these are more concentrated in the northern areas. And we use these again as more kind of stopgap methods, like really where we couldn't put something else, because we know the cost is quite high for these. And so they had to be in priority areas. In total, it's just under 80 miles. The great thing about shared use paths is that they don't really have to conform to the roadway network themselves. They can go elsewhere, like your trail network does, but with a high cost, and then you also need a lot of right-of-way if they are in a near a road or adjacent to a road, and they take a lot of maintenance as well. Even limestone screening is going to take annual maintenance in the tens of thousands of dollars, and it's going to be a lot of money. Not to say that it's not worth it, but that is a consideration for us as well as we design the network. I spent a lot of headaches on this intersection right here. If you're familiar with it, US 6 and US 35. I was like, how the heck am I supposed to get a bicyclist across it, through it, over it? And so we came up with this type of consideration or design where you would actually kind of ride through the intersection, and then on both sides of the intersection would be paved shoulders, which you would return to, and then you would be on the path for just that brief period of time. But it's like weird intersections like this that are configured interestingly, I'll say, by NDOT, where shared use paths are really valuable to implement. And then some other examples, State Road 2. So basically, anytime you see utility poles, usually the right-of-way is 10 feet beyond that into private property. So on a place like this, where you don't have a ton of right-of-way on one side, but you have it on the other, that's a really great place for a shared use path. Similar to, that would be our design standard, at least 8 feet wide, typically asphalt. But that is an example of a good place to put a shared use path for some of those reasons. And then advisory shoulders, like I said, about 10 miles of the road, 10 miles of the network. Advisory shoulders are really great when you don't have the full width needed for a bike lane. And so typically you need at least 30 feet of width on a roadway to have a bike lane. When you don't have it, you can put an advisory shoulder. And we only recommend this for speed limits under 30 miles an hour on roadways. But basically, if there's no bicyclists at all on the roads, it just acts as a regular road. So you can actually go into these marked lanes and use them as the full road. When there are bicyclists present, you do have to go around it, and this now serves as a bike lane. So it's kind of a temporary, when there is bicyclists, you use it certain ways. If there's not, use a different lane. And so we found Barker Road in Michigan City as an example of what would be a good candidate for the advisory shoulders. Very low volume, only about 500 cars per day, which is quite low, and a marked speed limit of 30 miles an hour. So we said, okay, we don't want to take down any trees, on the left side, and the right of way was very, very tight on the right side. So we said, okay, let's go advisory shoulder. And so that's an example of where we kind of mixed in a few other designs as well. Obviously, we recommended, 300, miles of bike lanes and shared use paths. These aren't all going to be built within 5 years. We don't expect that. That'd be impossible. Jeremy would be here, 100 hours a week. And probably still come up short. So we phase them based on priorities and the kind of low-hanging fruit, if you will. That would be our short-term 0 to 5 years. As you can see, they're relatively short in length compared to a lot of other, and then the majority of them are advisory shoulders, which can be done either just by painting the roadway or during resurfacing as well, or paved shoulders or a bike lane, typically. Some of these other ones that are a little bit more complicated, your Barker Woods, Michigan City High School, that also involves a shared use path. That it's still possible to do within 5 years, but it would be quick. And that's why a lot of our recommendations consist of this medium term, 6 to 10 years. I tell clients that if you wanted to do a trail project today, you could probably finish in 4 years. If you had the money today, if you could start on it. So just to give you an idea of how long these actually take to come to fruition, get done with engineering, battle with NDOT for a while, battle with the county and Germany for a while. It takes a long time. And so a lot of them will be in this long-term phase 3 projects, which are 10 plus years. And as you can see, all of the ones that are pretty considerable in distance and length are going to be in this category as well for that exact reason. Anytime you see a US, that means we get to deal with NDOT. That's also going to make the process harder, more arduous, and going to have some roadblocks in there as well. And then, as I said, we want this to be implementable, so we did come up with a variety of different funding sources from the state, from the federal government, from NPOs, the county, foundations, things like that, to pair with some of these recommendations so that it is feasible. And we started thinking like, okay, this project could get this funding type of thing, and how do we pair those two so that we're not just making recommendations that have no shot at getting funded, grants or otherwise. So this is all in the plan as well, another list. And again, just want to say thank you all for the ability to work with your really amazing community and the trust you put in us to kind of put this plan together. And we're very happy and hopeful to work with you on implementation as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions or anything for Ryan? I want to say thank you to the help, the State Department, the Park Foundation, the LaPorte County Park Foundation, the Health Foundation of LaPorte, all of them have helped with this project. So, it's a plan, and now, the idea is that Ontario can help us, maybe find some funds. We can all work together, and maybe with this plan, I can sit down with the county planner and the highway department and say, hey, as we're doing these paving projects, can we add this into a community crossings grant and maybe do some of these shoulders and stuff, because there is money there for those kind of things, I think, and it's just something we need to be, everybody needs to know about, and this plan doesn't need to just sit somewhere. That everybody that has an opportunity to come up with some of those funds can be thinking in this direction, so. But,
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be around by email if you guys have any questions, and happy to set up a plan if needed as well.
Thank you. Okay. Very good. Any other questions? No. Okay. Very good. I think that's a very, very good thing. I've had some close calls on bicycles with vehicles, and yeah.
So if we can, formally adopt this as a plan for the county, or recommend that we go to the commissioners with it, and try to get this added to the
Master
county's comp plan and that kind of thing. That's where we need to go.
So we should probably have a motion to accept the master plan as part of our overall planning for the parks, so that we can take it to the county to make it part of the county plan. Can I have a motion to do that? Okay, and a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. So we'll take that to the county and say we'd like to have some funding and available. Okay, now for the demo request for the caretaker's home. Has anybody been out there to look at the home? Besides, there's a couple of us here that have been here.
Yeah, I'm married now, but
Yeah.
I think Mike King.
Yes, I think Mike and I was there, and I were there. So I wouldn't want to live there, for sure.
Yeah, and I think, the way I have said, we don't need to be in line with business, right? That could be a potential problem for us. And the house is not in good shape, and there's really no other use for it. And like I said, I've already gone to the commissioners and got their blessing to take it down and that kind of thing. So I did look into dumpsters, 30-yard dumpsters, about $500. I figure it's going to take several of those to tear it down. The highway department did say they could bring their equipment in and tear it down for us. My crew can go through and get what they can out of it that is
Scrapped or salvaged.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing. So if the board agrees, we can, you can vote to go ahead and demolish that. My long-range plan for that area would be to put up a pole building so all of our work areas are right next to each other, and then demolish the other pole building that's down by the pond. And then that would be a public use space. So.
Right. And then all of our equipment would be in one spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you have multiple areas where you keep tools. I always know when I am on my wood shop, it's out in the garage shop. Mm-hmm. And so this will make it so much more efficient and convenient for our staff. And the building really, when I look at it, it would take a lot of dollars to make it rentable, and then it's a rental facility that you'd have to be a landlord. And that's not.
And I think with them helping us tear it down, you're probably looking at less than $3,000 or $4,000 total. for us to do it. And in our non-reverting funds, we could swing that, so.
Yeah.
You're saving a lot of money on that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And maybe we can buy a couple of sledgehammers and sell minutes of destruction.
What is that? What was that a while back where they would let people pay to get their frustrations out?
Yeah, something Just kidding. Make it a fundraiser. Can I run the backhoe? I love that. So, okay. Can I have a motion to for the park to demolish the home, the caretaker's home?
So,
And a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Okay. New business, the grant from the Healthcare Foundation for the disc golf.
Yeah, so, several of you went out with us, walked the disc golf course with Brandon. Brandon came last month and talked to us about it. And last month you recommended that I look into some pricing, I work with Brandon and figure out some pricing and that. And so what I came up with is he gave me several lists of the types of baskets that we would get. And, he said something about, well, we could probably reuse the 9 baskets you've got. I was like, they're like 20 years old. I mean, they're rough, and there's no, and maybe we could do something with those, give them to another park or, something, I don't know, but they're not falling apart, but they're just rusty and as you're playing, and we're revamping a course, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't try to make it all really nice, right? So, the baskets are about $500 a piece, so that would be about $9,000. Signs at each hole showing the drawing of the course of that hole and giving some information about that are about a total of $2,500. The tee pads, so if we're redoing this, we would want to put in nice tee pads, which is the surface they would be throwing from. What I'd like to do on that is similar to what we put in front of the pit toilet at Creek Ridge. I don't know if you remember when I first started here, probably in like 2016 or so, we did that pervious pavement or pervious sidewalk material that's like a rubber and gravel and then a binder that binds it all together and water can flow right through it, but it's rubberized and it's just a nice surface. That would be about another $9,000. And the good thing about that is that we can do that ourselves. Our crew was kind of got trained in it and it's not that difficult. We've done it since then at another location. So that's just for the materials. Tree clearing, so we're going to have to clear some lanes for the new holes. Some of the new holes we're going to try to reuse basically everything we have and some open lanes we have already. That I'm figuring that's going to be around $4,500 for a total of $25,000. There'll be some other costs in there that we could take out of non-reverting, but we would be putting a lot of our own labor and volunteer labor into doing this project instead of having to hire somebody to come in and do it. But HFL, Health Foundation of LaPorte, has grants for up to $10,000 and then $10,000 to $25,000 and then $25,000 and over. I think this is a great grant to go for is the $25,000, between $10,000 and $25,000, so that we can try to get the majority of this funding, and then we would be putting in some of our own funding and labor. Labor would be quite a bit, and we can estimate what that would be. So I'd like to see if we could get permission from the board to go ahead and apply for a grant from the Healthcare Foundation, somewhere in that $10,000 to $25,000 range.
Right. And in talking with Jeremy, I think he said there's between 50 and 70 people that would come for tournaments periodically throughout the summer as well. So attendance will definitely impact attendance.
Yeah, if we upgrade the course, I think that'll become more common. I think it's a 9-hole course. Most people like to play 18. Sometimes they just play 9 and then they play the other 9 again, but I think it would bring a lot more people to our location. Mm-hmm. There's online apps and stuff where people can find the courses and people can review them and all that kind of stuff, all outside of what we do, right? So they just handle it themselves, and just like any other park visitors or dog parks or whatever, there's a community of disc golf players and tournament, and clubs and stuff, and I think that would put us a little better on the map as far as being a decent.
It's a unique location because it's so close to the freeway. People coming from east to west or vice versa find that, it's a good stop. It's halfway between my trip out west or whatever. Let's go play 18 holes and stay in Michigan City overnight and spend a bunch of money and fill up with gas and then head on. Yeah, it is really a good place to be. We just heard that from the golf or from the dog park as well. Great place to stop.
Stretch your legs.
Let the dog get out and run around a little bit, get back in the car and go.
Yeah.
So, can I have anybody have any questions or comments on that? Okay, can I have a motion to allow Jeremy to seek funding for the disc golf upgrade? So moved. And a second?
I'll say.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. Board and staff comments. Any board and staff comments? Summer's coming to a close.
Yeah, Pioneer Days is coming up, the 27th and 8th, I think, of September here. Yeah, 27th and 28th. Look for the signs along the road and look at the website and the program, other programs as well. So please check them out. I'm trying, Pioneer Days is a kind of a fundraiser for our Park Foundation and the Parks Department too. So it's a good, busy event. If that's not for you, we've got other events in October and December and everything else. So check them out.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? In a second.
Awesome.
Okay, all in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting is at this building right here, October 7th at 5 o'clock. See you then.